Ladies and gentlemen, friends and beloved family, it's such an honor to be with you today. And I want to start by reminding you of something so powerful. God's blessings are abundant and they are available to each one of us. Life may throw challenges our way, but I truly believe that when we remain faithful, when we trust in God's plan, blessings will come in ways we never imagined. In the journey of faith, many people go through seasons where challenges seem overwhelming and struggles seem endless. However, it is precisely in these moments of hardship that God is often preparing something greater for us. When we look back on our toughest times, it is sometimes difficult to understand why we had to endure such pain or trials. But it is important to remember that God's purpose is far greater than what we may see with our own eyes in the moment. Enduring a season of struggle often feels like walking through a desert where the way forward seems unclear and we may feel spiritually drained. The weight of life's burdens, whether it's financial difficulty, health problems, relationship issues, or other personal struggles, can leave us questioning God's plan for our lives. Yet in these difficult seasons, God is often doing something deeper within us. He is refining us, purging us of anything that doesn't align with His purpose. Just like gold has to be refined through fire, our faith too is strengthened and purified through trials. God often uses these struggles to build our character. When everything seems to be falling apart, we are being shaped and molded into the people God desires us to be. This refining process can be painful, but it is not without purpose. It is during these seasons that we learn to rely more fully on God, trusting that His promises will never fail, even when we can't see the way forward. God's presence with us in times of struggle teaches us perseverance, patience, and resilience. Our faith becomes more robust as we learn to lean on Him for strength and guidance. The Bible is full of stories of individuals who endured great struggles before experiencing God's blessing. Take the story of Joseph, for example. Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused and thrown into prison. Yet through every trial, God was with him, refining him for the greater purpose that was to come. Eventually, Joseph became a powerful leader in Egypt, and God used him to save many people from famine. His season of struggle was not in vain. It was the very thing that positioned him to fulfill God's purpose in his life. God took what seemed like a series of unfair and unfortunate events and turned them into a blessing, not just for Joseph, but for an entire nation. We see the story of Job. Job endured unimaginable suffering. He lost his wealth, his health, and his family. Yet, in the midst of his suffering, Job never gave up on God. Instead, he wrestled with his pain, poured out his heart to God, and ultimately came to a deeper understanding of God's sovereignty. In the end, God restored Job, blessing him with even more than he had before his trials began. Job's story shows us that even in the hardest times, God's faithfulness remains unwavering. And He is working behind the scenes to bring us to a place of blessing and restoration. In our own lives, we may not always understand why we go through certain struggles, but it's essential to trust that God's plan is always good, even when things don't make sense. The Bible assures us that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him. Romans 8:28. This promise reminds us that nothing we go through is wasted. Every hardship we face can be used by God for our ultimate good and His glory. As we endure our struggles, it's important to remember that these seasons do not last forever. God has a purpose in each of our struggles, and He is using them to prepare us for something greater. Just as a seed has to be buried in the soil before it can sprout and grow, our spiritual growth often requires going through times of difficulty. It is in these moments that we are drawn closer to God and our faith is deepened. We learn to trust not in our own strength, but in His. When we endure struggles with faith and perseverance, we also become a testimony to others. People around us may be watching to see how we handle life's difficulties. When we remain steadfast in our faith and trust in God's promises, we can be a source of encouragement and inspiration to those who may be facing their own struggles. Our story becomes a living testament to the power of God to bring us through even the most challenging circumstances. God is preparing you for something greater. And the struggles you are facing today may be the very thing that positions you for the blessings of tomorrow. When you remain faithful during your hardest seasons, you are setting the stage for God to reveal His purpose in your life. His blessing may not come immediately, but rest assured it is on its way. Just as the night gives way to the dawn, your season of struggle will give way to a season of blessing. Stay faithful. Keep trusting and know that God is working in ways you cannot yet see. One of the most profound ways God shows His hand at work in our lives is through the small, seemingly insignificant blessings that appear in unexpected ways. Often, we tend to focus on the larger, more dramatic manifestations of God's power, such as major breakthroughs or significant miracles. However, it is in the small things that God is quietly preparing us for greater blessings. Recognizing and appreciating these little moments can help us see God's favor at work, even when we may not fully understand His plan. When we begin to notice the little things, like an unexpected compliment, a small favor from a stranger, or a door that opens when we least expect it, these are signs that God is already moving in our lives. It may seem trivial at first, but these small moments are often the first indicators of God's favor. They are reminders that He is actively involved in every detail of our lives, even when it seems like He is silent. Each small blessing, no matter how insignificant it may appear, is a message from God saying, I am with you and I am working on your behalf. Sometimes these small signs come in the form of opportunities that we might not have expected. Perhaps you find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting someone who could open a door for you in your career or personal life. These opportunities might seem random, but nothing in God's plan is accidental. When you begin to see opportunities emerge in unexpected ways, it's a sign that God is opening doors for you even when you didn't think they existed. These moments may feel like coincidences, but as you reflect on them, you begin to recognize the hand of God orchestrating events for your good. Another small blessing can come in the form of unexpected provision. Perhaps you've been struggling financially, and out of nowhere, someone blesses you with exactly what you needed. It could be a gift, a discount, or a financial contribution that comes at the right moment. These small acts of kindness or provision are God's way of showing you that He sees your needs and is taking care of them. It may not be a large sum of money or a huge windfall, but it is a reminder that God is faithful to provide for you, even in the most practical ways. These small blessings may also appear in the form of peace and comfort in the midst of difficult circumstances. Life is often filled with challenges, and sometimes the weight of those challenges can feel unbearable. But in the midst of those struggles, you might experience an overwhelming sense of peace, a comfort that transcends understanding. This peace is a sign that God's presence is with you, guiding you through the storm. It's not always the dramatic solution we expect, but it is the assurance that God is with us and He will bring us through. Sometimes God's small blessings show up through the encouragement of others. Maybe a friend reaches out with a kind word of encouragement, or a stranger offers a smile when you need it most. These small moments are reflections of God's love and care for us. They are reminders that He often works through others to bless us, even in ways we might not expect. When you feel encouraged and uplifted by those around you, take a moment to thank God for using others to show His love and favor. These small signs of God's favor also teach us to develop an attitude of gratitude. When we become aware of the little blessings in our lives, it shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. Instead of constantly looking for the big, life-changing miracles, we begin to appreciate the everyday gifts that God gives us. By focusing on these small blessings, we are cultivating a heart of gratitude and learning to see God's goodness in all things. These small blessings help to build our faith. As we begin to recognize God's hand in the small details of our lives, we grow more confident in His ability to handle the larger challenges. The small blessings serve as a reminder that God is with us in both the big and small moments, and that He is always at work even when we cannot see the full picture. These moments of favor increase our trust in God, knowing that He is always present and active in our lives. God often uses these small blessings to prepare us for the larger ones that are coming. As we recognize His hand in the little things, we are being positioned to handle the bigger blessings that He will pour into our lives. These small signs are not to be overlooked. They are God's way of letting us know that He is working on our behalf and that greater things are on the way. When we stay attuned to these small blessings, we open ourselves up to receive even more from God. God's favor is not always seen in grand displays. It is often woven through the fabric of our daily lives in small, beautiful moments. By recognizing and appreciating these small blessings, we open our eyes to the reality of God's presence in every moment of our lives. Even when it seems like life is quiet, God is working behind the scenes, preparing us for the larger blessings that will follow. It is through these small signs that we are reminded of God's love, provision, and faithfulness. So the next time you notice a small blessing, whether it's a kind word, an unexpected opportunity, or a moment of peace, remember that it is a sign of God's favor and that He is preparing something even greater for you. As we navigate through life, our dreams and aspirations often evolve and grow in ways that reflect God's work within us. When God is about to bless us, one of the most evident signs is the clarity and amplification of our dreams. These dreams are not just fleeting thoughts or desires, but deeply ingrained visions of our purpose and calling in life. They often seem bigger than what we could have imagined for ourselves, but that's because they are aligned with God's perfect plan for us. The dreams we begin to experience are not simply personal goals, but divine appointments that lead us to fulfill the purpose God has created for us. When God begins to speak to us through our dreams, the vision becomes clearer. We start to see where we're headed and the potential that lies ahead. It may be a dream for a new career, a calling to serve others, or a vision of how we can impact the world around us. As these dreams take shape, they are infused with a sense of purpose and direction that transcends what we thought possible. The clarity of these dreams is a signal that God is beginning to unfold His plan in our lives. What seemed uncertain or far off is now tangible, and we can feel the pull towards something greater. One of the key signs that God is blessing you through your dreams is when they align with His word and purpose. Often when we are walking in God's will, our dreams become more than just personal desires. They are connected to His broader mission for us. The clarity in these dreams is not just about achieving success or personal happiness. It's about fulfilling God's calling in our lives and being part of His greater work in the world. This alignment with His word and purpose brings peace, knowing that our dreams are not merely self-serving, but are part of a higher calling. At times, these dreams may seem daunting or even impossible. When we first begin to see them clearly, we may doubt our ability to achieve them. After all, they are often much larger than anything we've experienced before. However, this is where God's guidance comes into play. When He gives us a vision, He also equips us for it. The clarity of these dreams is accompanied by the strength, wisdom, and resources necessary to make them a reality. The process of bringing these dreams to life may involve growth, challenges, and even a few setbacks. But each step is designed to strengthen our faith and prepare us for what's ahead. The clearer the dream becomes, the more evident it is that God is leading us toward a purpose much bigger than we could have imagined. In many cases, as we experience this shift in our dreams, we also experience a greater sense of urgency and motivation. Our hearts begin to burn with desire to pursue the dreams God has placed within us. This newfound drive is not born out of our own ambition or desire for success, but from the deep understanding that these dreams are not our own. They are God's plans for our lives. As our hearts align with God's purpose, our motivation intensifies, and we find ourselves willing to take risks and step out of our comfort zones in pursuit of those dreams. Along with the clarity of dreams comes a sense of timing. God's timing is perfect, and as He reveals these dreams to us, He also prepares us for the right moment to step into them. At times, we may feel impatient or frustrated, wanting to move forward faster than God is allowing, but it's important to trust His timing. God is never early or late. He is always right on time. The clarity of our dreams allows us to wait with patience and faith, knowing that when the time is right, everything will fall into place. The right opportunities will arise, and we will be equipped to walk in them with confidence. These dreams often start small, with just a whisper in our hearts, but over time they grow into something much bigger. As we nurture these dreams and allow God to shape them, they begin to grow roots in our lives, becoming an integral part of our vision and purpose. These dreams are not just idle thoughts or fantasies. They are divine invitations to participate in God's work. The more we lean into these dreams, the more they become a driving force in our lives, leading us forward in faith. Another aspect of the clarity of dreams is the confirmation that comes through other people. As God reveals His plans to us, He often uses others to confirm what He is doing in our life. A word of encouragement, a prophetic message, or a moment of shared vision can serve as a powerful reminder that we are on the right path. This confirmation from others can provide reassurance and strength, especially when doubts or challenges arise along the way. It is through these moments that we realize we are not walking this journey alone, but that God is surrounding us with people who support, encourage, and challenge us to keep moving forward. The clarity of dreams also brings with it a sense of responsibility. As God reveals His purpose to us, we realize that our dreams are not just for our benefit, but for the benefit of others. These dreams are often tied to serving and blessing others, whether through our work, ministry, or personal relationships. As the vision becomes clearer, we understand that our lives are meant to be a conduit of God's love and grace to those around us. Our dreams are not just about what we can achieve, but about how we can make a difference in the world through God's power. When God begins to reveal His dreams for us, the clarity is not just about seeing the future, but about understanding how we fit into His divine plan. These dreams are a glimpse of the future, a vision of what God has called us to do and how He wants to use our lives for His glory. The clarity of these dreams brings us closer to our purpose, helping us understand the unique calling He has placed on our lives and preparing us to step into the blessings He has for us. The more we trust in His plan, the more we will see our dreams unfold before us, knowing that God is with us every step of the way. As we walk through life, we are often faced with moments of testing, particularly in our faith. These tests are not meant to defeat us, but to refine us and prepare us for the blessings God has in store. When God is about to bless us, one of the clearest signs is that we experience a season of testing. It may come in the form of trials, challenges, or situations that stretch us beyond what we think we can handle. However, these tests are part of God's process to shape our character, strengthen our trust in Him, and equip us to handle the blessings that are about to come our way. Testing is a common theme in the Bible, with many figures of faith undergoing tests that refine their character and deepen their relationship with God. Abraham, for instance, was tested when God asked him to sacrifice his son Isaac, the son he had longed for and waited for. It was in that moment of testing that Abraham's faith was proven, and God revealed that He would bless Abraham and make him the father of many nations. Similarly, Moses was tested throughout his journey leading the Israelites, and it was through these tests that he grew in humility and dependence on God. Each test served a purpose in the grand scheme of God's plan, preparing these individuals for the great work they would do. When God allows us to go through a testing season, it is an opportunity for our faith to be purified. Just as gold is refined by fire, our faith is often refined through trials and challenges. These tests reveal what is in our hearts, exposing areas of weakness, doubt, or fear that need to be addressed. It is during these times that we have the chance to rely more deeply on God, to let go of our own control, and to trust in His sovereignty. The testing of our faith brings us to a place of greater dependence on God, teaching us that we cannot rely on our own strength, but must trust in His provision, guidance, and timing. When we are tested, it can often feel uncomfortable, and we may question why we are going through such difficulty. However, these tests are not meant to break us, but to build us. God is strengthening our spiritual muscles, preparing us for the greater blessings that lie ahead. It is through these tests that we learn perseverance, patience, and endurance. We learn to wait on God's timing, knowing that He is faithful and will never leave us or forsake us. The testing process helps us grow in spiritual maturity, equipping us to handle the blessings and responsibilities that will come with the next season of our lives. One of the key aspects of testing is that it teaches us to trust in God's promises. When everything around us seems uncertain, we are called to stand firm in the faith, holding on to the truth that God will fulfill His promises. Even when we don't see the results immediately, we can rest assured that God is working behind the scenes. He is preparing us for something greater, and the test is a part of that process. The more we trust in God during the testing, the more we see His faithfulness in the long run. The Bible tells us in James 1:02-4 that we should consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. This verse teaches us that the purpose of testing is not to cause harm, but to help us grow spiritually. As we persevere through the tests, we become more mature and fully equipped for the blessings and responsibilities that God has in store for us. The testing season is not just about enduring hardship. It's about being transformed in the process, becoming more like Christ and better prepared to fulfill His calling on our lives. To strengthening our faith, testing also helps us develop resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and we cannot avoid challenges. But when we learn to face these tests with faith, we develop the resilience to keep going, even when things are difficult. Resilience is not just about bouncing back from hard times, but about growing through them. It's about learning to trust God in every season and finding joy in His presence, even when circumstances aren't ideal. As we go through testing, it's also important to remember that we are not alone. God is with us in every trial, and His presence is a source of strength and comfort. He promises to never leave us or forsake us. and He is with us through every challenge. In times of testing, it's crucial to turn to God in prayer, seeking His guidance, strength, and peace. He is faithful to answer and will provide the wisdom we need to navigate through the trial. The season of testing is a necessary part of the process that leads to blessing. When God is about to bless us, He first prepares us by refining our character and strengthening our faith. The test is a preparation for the greater things to come. Just as athletes train and push themselves to become stronger and more capable, God is training us in the spiritual realm, building the endurance and trust needed to handle the blessings He has in store for us. The process may be difficult, but it is always worth it, for it leads us to a place of greater maturity, spiritual growth, and readiness for the abundant blessings God has promised. When we embrace the tests we face with faith, patience, and trust in God, we are positioning ourselves for the blessings that lie ahead. The testing process refines our hearts, deepens our relationship with God, and prepares us for the greater work He has called us to. It is through these tests that we develop the qualities necessary to handle the blessings and responsibilities that God will bring into our lives. And when we come out on the other side, we will find ourselves stronger, more mature, and ready to walk in the fullness of God's blessings. As we go through life, one of the most important ways that God prepares us for blessings is through the power of our relationships. The people God places in our lives, whether they are friends, family, mentors, or even strangers, play a significant role in our spiritual growth and in positioning us for the blessings He has planned for us. When God is about to bless us, He often brings people into our lives who will support, encourage, and help us fulfill the dreams and purposes He has placed within us. These relationships serve as a vital part of the process, and the connections we make can often serve as key indicators that blessings are on the way. One of the first ways relationships play a role in preparing us for blessings is through divine connection. These are the people we meet at just the right moment, often in unexpected ways, who become a catalyst for the next phase of our journey. God orchestrates these connections to guide us, provide wisdom, or open doors that we couldn't have accessed on our own. Whether it's a business partner who shares a vision or a mentor who imparts wisdom, these relationships are evidence that God is positioning us for something greater. Often these divine connections come when we least expect them, but they are perfectly timed to help us move forward in the plan God has for us. Another way relationships influence our journey is by providing encouragement and support during difficult seasons. Life can be full of challenges and hardships, and when we are going through tough times, it is easy to feel alone or defeated. However, God often places people in our lives who come alongside us during these difficult moments. These relationships provide the emotional and spiritual support we need to persevere. The Bible tells us that we are called to bear one another's burdens, Galatians 6:02. And in these moments of struggle, our friends, family, and church community can help lift us up and remind us of God's promises. Their encouragement can be the strength we need to keep going when everything feels uncertain. At times, God uses relationships to refine us, particularly in our character. Relationships, whether personal or professional, provide a mirror in which we can see our strengths and weaknesses. God uses these connections to teach us how to love, forgive, and grow. Through our interactions with others, we learn patience, humility, kindness, and grace. Sometimes we may find ourselves in relationships that challenge us, where we must confront our own shortcomings or work through conflict. These situations are not easy, but they are essential for our growth. As we navigate difficult relationships, we learn how to respond with Christ-like love and maturity, preparing us to handle the greater blessings God has for us. God also uses relationships to open doors to new opportunities. Often the connections we make with others will lead to new paths and possibilities that we could not have anticipated. A simple conversation or a small act of kindness can open doors to promotions, new ministries, or life-changing experiences. These relationships, built on trust and mutual respect, serve as conduits for the blessings that God wants to bring into our lives. Whether it's a colleague offering us a job opportunity or a friend inviting us to a ministry event, these connections often lead to significant shifts in our journey. They serve as reminders that God works through people to fulfill His purpose in our lives. Additionally, God uses relationships to hold us accountable and keep us focused on His plan. In our walk of faith, we need people who will challenge us, speak truth into our lives, and help keep us on track. Relationships with others provide a framework for accountability, ensuring that we are walking in God's will and not swayed by distraction. These individuals encourage us to stay faithful, even when the path gets difficult. They remind us of God's promises, encourage us to trust in His timing, and help us stay grounded in the Word. Without these relationships, we can easily lose sight of the bigger picture and become distracted by the trials of life. Relationships provide opportunities for us to serve and bless others. When we are blessed by the relationships in our lives, we are also called to be a blessing to others. God works through us to impact the lives of those around us. And as we bless others, we position ourselves for even greater blessings. The Bible tells us that it is more blessed to give than to receive, Acts 20:35. As we serve, encourage, and support those around us, we reflect God's love and become a conduit for His blessings to flow. These relationships are a two-way street where both parties benefit and grow. When we give of ourselves, we make room for God to pour even more blessings into our lives. Relationships also offer the opportunity to learn from others. God places people in our lives who have wisdom and experience that we can benefit from. These relationships provide guidance, knowledge, and insight that can help us make better decisions and navigate life more effectively. Whether it's learning from a mentor's experiences, gaining wisdom from a seasoned friend, or seeking advice from a family member, these relationships give us the tools we need to move forward with confidence. The insights we gain from these relationships can often illuminate the path ahead, helping us make choices that align with God's will. Sometimes, relationships act as a confirmation of the blessings that God is about to bring into our lives. As we step out in faith and follow God's lead, He often uses those around us to confirm that we are on the right path. Whether it's a word of encouragement, a prophetic message, or simply the support of a friend, these moments of confirmation strengthen our faith and give us assurance that we are headed in the right direction. Relationships serve as a reminder that God is at work even when we don't always see the results immediately. The relationships God places in our lives are not merely for companionship or support, but for growth, purpose, and positioning us for the blessings He has planned for us. These connections can serve as divine appointments, sources of encouragement, or opportunities for personal development. They are vital to the process of preparing us for the blessings that are coming, and they remind us that God works through people to fulfill His plans in our lives. When we recognize the value of the relationships around us and open our hearts to what God is doing, we position ourselves to receive the fullness of His blessings. One of the most significant signs that God is about to bless us is when we begin to experience a period of favor. Favor from God is a powerful and unmistakable indication that He is positioning us for blessings. This favor is not based on our own merits or abilities, but rather it is the grace and kindness of God being poured out on us in abundance. It is a sign that God is opening doors, creating opportunities, and aligning circumstances to position us for the blessings He has in store. This divine favor transcends human effort or influence and is a reflection of God's love and provision in our life. When God's favor is on us, things begin to align in ways that we could not have orchestrated on our own. We may find that doors open in our careers, relationships, or ministry that were previously closed. Opportunities that seemed impossible become available, and we are able to walk into them with ease. This divine favor is not about luck or coincidence, but about God's intentional hand at work, guiding us toward the blessings He has prepared for us. The favor of God gives us access to places, people, and opportunities that would have been unavailable through our own strength or abilities. Favor is not just about external opportunities, it also affects our internal state. When God's favor is upon us, we experience a sense of peace and confidence, knowing that God is with us and is working on our behalf. This internal peace allows us to step forward in faith, trusting that God will provide and guide us through every situation. We no longer need to worry about the outcomes because we trust that God is in control. His favor assures us that He will work things out for our good, even when circumstances seem challenging or uncertain. To opening doors, God's favor often involves the people around us. When God is about to bless us, He often moves in the hearts of others to extend favor toward us. People may offer us help, support, and resources that we need to move forward in our journey. This favor from others is a reflection of God's provision and an indication that He is using people to fulfill His purposes in our lives. Whether it's a boss promoting us, a friend offering advice, or a stranger offering a helping hand, God uses others to show His favor and bless us in tangible ways. These acts of kindness and support serve as reminders that God is working through people to bring His blessings into our life. Another aspect of favor is that it gives us an edge in situations where others may struggle. When God's favor is on us, we are able to accomplish things with ease that would normally require more effort or time. This might look like receiving a promotion at work when others have been trying for years, or being chosen for an opportunity that others have been vying for. This favor allows us to move ahead of the pack, not because of our own effort or ability, but because God is orchestrating the circumstances in our favor. It is a sign that God is not only opening doors, but also giving us the ability to walk through them with success. The favor of God also empowers us to accomplish the work He has called us to do. As we receive God's favor, we are able to step into our purpose with greater effectiveness and anointing. Whether we are called to serve in ministry, pursue a specific career, or make a difference in our community, God's favor gives us the ability to do so with success. His favor equips us to meet challenges with confidence and creativity, allowing us to see breakthroughs and victories in areas where we may have previously struggled. This empowerment through favor is a sign that God is preparing us for the greater blessings He has in store. While God's favor is a sign that blessings are on the way, it is important to understand that favor does not mean that everything will always be easy or without challenge. There will still be difficulties along the way, but with God's favor, we are able to overcome obstacles that would otherwise defeat us. The challenges we face are not a sign of God's absence, but are opportunities for His favor to be displayed in even greater ways. As we go through trials, we experience God's favor working in and through us, enabling us to emerge stronger and more equipped for the blessings that lie ahead. The favor of God also teaches us humility and gratitude. When we experience favor, it is important to remember that it is not something we have earned, but it is a gift from God. This humility allows us to give glory to God for all the blessings we receive and to remain thankful for His provision. It reminds us that we are dependent on God's grace and that everything we have is a result of His kindness and love. As we recognize the favor of God in our lives, we are more inclined to use the blessings we receive to serve others and further God's kingdom. God's favor is not just for personal gain, but it is also for His glory. When we experience favor, it is an opportunity to reflect His goodness to the world around us. Our lives become a testimony of God's faithfulness and provision. Others see the favor of God on our lives and are drawn to Him, which opens the door for us to share the good news of Jesus. The favor of God is not meant to be kept to ourselves, but is intended to be a blessing to others, helping to bring about change and transformation in the world. The favor of God is a powerful sign that He is positioning us for blessings. It is a tangible expression of His love and grace, opening doors and creating opportunities that we could not have imagined. Favor impacts both our external circumstances and our internal peace, allowing us to move forward with confidence, knowing that God is at work on our behalf. As God pours out His favor on us, He also empowers us to fulfill His purpose in our lives and to be a blessing to those around us. Favor is not something we can earn, but it is a gift from God that signifies His intention to bless us in ways that exceed our expectations. When we recognize and embrace the favor of God, we position ourselves to walk into the fullness of the blessings He has prepared for us.